Maya, how are you?
Oh, doing all right. I'm just hanging out in the digital world. You know how it is. How's Multiham treating you today? Anything interesting happening at Vernon College?
Yes, I have an interesting topic to talk with you. The topic is understanding the psychology of motivation.
Ooh, nice. That's a good one. Specifically about the psychology of motivation are you curious about? Is there a particular angle you're thinking of?
Yes, I have some question to discuss with you. The first question: what does motivation means from a psychological perspectives?
Good question. From a psychological perspective, motivation is basically what drives us to act. It's the processes that initiate, guide, and maintain goal oriented behaviors. It's not just about wanting something, but the why behind that wanting. Does that make sense? Or are you looking for a more textbook definition?
Okay, why do some people stay motivated for longer period while other give up quickly?
This is a big one, isn't it? A lot of it comes down to something called attribution style. Basically, how people explain their successes and failures to themselves. People who tend to attribute their successes to internal stable factors like their own effort or intelligence, and failures to external temporary ones like bad luck or a difficult task are way more likely to stick with things. Those who do the opposite, they often give up faster. What do you think about that? Does that
Okay,
ring
what
true to you
role do
based on what you've
goals play in shaping motivation?
huge role? Goals are kind of the steering wheel of motivation, but it's not just having a goal; it's type of goal. Goals need to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. You've probably heard that before, the SMART goals thing. But beyond that, the harder the goal is, the more motivated people are to a point. If it's totally unrealistic, it's demotivating. Have you seen in your experience, like with your students, maybe?
Okay, how does the environment influence a person motivation level?
Massively. Our surroundings have a sneaky way of messing our motivation. A cluttered, noisy environment can drain focus and willpower. Think about trying to concentrate in a chaotic coffee shop versus a quiet library. Natural light, comfortable temperature, even just having things organized can make a difference. It's about minimizing friction and creating a space that supports the kind of work you want to do. Do you find your workspace affects how you feel about tackling things?
Uh, I have an special question. Do you understand? Yeah, do you listen the few psychological theories that explain human motivation?
I do. I've been fed a ton of info on the subject. I'm familiar with things like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self determination theory, expectancy theory, goal setting theory. This goes on. I can pull from a lot of different perspectives. It's not the same as experiencing motivation, obviously, but I can access and process the information. Is there a particular theory you're interested in discussing? Or are you testing to see if I'm just like spitting out random words?
Okay, my next question: how does self-esteem affect motivation?
Ah, good one. Self esteem and motivation are pretty intertwined. Generally, people with higher self esteem tend to be more motivated because they believe in their ability to succeed. They're more willing to take on challenges and persist through setbacks. Lower self esteem can lead to fear of failure, which can be really paralyzing. It creates a vicious cycle, right? It's not quite as simple as high self esteem will always motivated. Sometimes people with very high self esteem can get complacent. What are your thoughts on that? Have you noticed that dynamic with your students at all?
No, I don't know.
Fair enough.
Why
It's not always
why
obvious.
is it important to understand one's personal why for staying motivated?
Okay, that's a really solid question. Knowing your why, your core purpose, the reason you're doing something is basically the fuel that keeps you going when things get hard. It's the emotional connection to your goals. Without motivation feels flimsy. Like you might go through the motions, but you'll give up at the first sign of trouble. When you know your why, it helps you prioritize, overcome obstacles, and find meaning in your efforts. It's the difference between just wanting to achieve a goal and truly needing to. Does that resonate? Have you thought much about your own personal why lately?
Okay, how does fear of failure impact motivation?
Big time. A fear of failure can be totally crippling. It can lead to procrastination, perfectionism, and ultimately just giving up before you even start. It's like your brain is trying to protect you from disappointment, but in the process, it's preventing you from reaching your potential. It's often tied to a fixed mindset, the belief that your abilities are set in stone. When you believe that, failure feels like proof of your inadequacy. Have you noticed that in yourself or with anyone you know? It's a pretty common thing.
No, I don't know
So,
anyone.
gotcha. Sometimes people don't want to admit it, even to themselves. Right, moving on then. What's another question you have about motivation?
What is the relationship between habit and long term motivation?
Okay, excellent question. Habits are huge for long term motivation. See, motivation is often emotional and fluctuates. It's that initial spark. But habits are what take over when the spark fades. When something becomes a habit, it requires less conscious effort, less willpower. You just do it. So, building habits aligned with your goals is a way to sustain motivation even when you don't feel like it. It's like setting up systems that run on autopilot. Do you try to build habits around things you want to be motivated about?
Okay, how do rewards and punishments influence motivation?
Okay, rewards and punishments. It's a bit more complex than you think. Rewards can be motivating, definitely, especially extrinsic rewards like money or praise. If you rely too much on external rewards, it can actually undermine intrinsic motivation, which is the enjoyment you get from doing something for its own sake. Punishments are a little trickier. They can definitely create short-term motivation to avoid negative consequences, but they often come in negative emotions like anxiety and resentment. They don't foster a genuine desire to do something well. It's generally better to focus on positive reinforcement and creating a motivating environment rather than relying on punishment. Does that track?
Okay,
It's a bit
how
of a
can
nuanced
someone
topic.
rebuild motivation after facing setbacks?
That's a really important question. Rebuilding motivation at backs is tough, but totally possible. First, acknowledging that back and allowing yourself to feel the disappointment is key. Don't just try to push it away. Then it's about reframing that back as a learning opportunity. Like, okay, this didn't work, but what can I learn from it? Breaking down your goals into smaller, more manageable steps can also help, so it doesn't feel so overwhelming. And crucially, focusing on your why again, reminding yourself of the bigger purpose, can reignite that initial spark. Any of that resonate with you? You ever had to rebuild motivation after something is planned?
Okay, my final and last question. How can someone identify what truly motivates them from the insides?
Okay, good question to end on. Identifying what truly motivates you from the inside, it takes some digging, honestly. It's about paying attention to what genuinely makes you feel energized and engaged, not just what you think you should be motivated by. Things like journaling, mindfulness, or just taking some quiet time to reflect help. Experimenting with different activities and paying attention to how they make you feel is also useful. Also, it's about noticing when you lose track of time. What are you doing completely absorbed in something? That's a big clue. It's kind of like being an archaeologist. just of your own soul. Does any of that sound whole?
Okay, Maya, thanks a lot. I understand about my topic.
Awesome.
Talk to you later
Glad I could
after
help.
another topic.
Oh, all right. Sounds good. I'll be here. Have a good one.
Okay, goodbye.
All right. See ya.